As they protest Queen Camilla at the Maundy service, should anti-monarchy campaigners stop protesting at royal engagements following the family's double cancer diagnosis? It's time for tonight's head-to-head. Anti-monarchy group Republic were back out on the streets today as they protested the Royal Maundy hosted by the Queen in Worcester.
Down with the crown! 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 Down with the crown!
Well, it's less than a year since the same group were causing chaos and being dragged into police vans ahead of the King's coronation. This is the same King who is now bravely battling cancer, meaning he missed today's Royal Monday service and only managed to muster an audio message for the guests in attendance. And, of course, he's not the only member of the royal family fighting cancer, is he?
In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
So tonight I'm asking, should anti-monarchy campaigners stop protesting at royal engagements following the royal family's double cancer diagnosis? Let me know your thoughts. GBviews at gbnews.com, at GBnews on Twitter. Go and vote in our poll. The results to follow in a few short minutes. But right now, going head-to-head, our journalist Sarah Robertson and human rights campaigner Peter Tatchell. Sarah, I'll start with you. They've been called scumbags, these anti-monarchy protesters. Would you agree with that?
Scumbags is a strong term, but I think there's something really ugly about the scenes that we saw today. We saw Queen Camilla going into the service to reward 150 good men and women who have done great things for the community. And there was just something very ugly about this braying mob outside. It just didn't reflect well on Britain. And I thought to be attacking an older woman whose husband, the King's, going through cancer, whose stepdaughter-in-law, Princess Catherine, is going through cancer, I just thought it just didn't sit right with me. It was a sad reflection on our country that people would think to stoop that low.
Yeah, they've stooped low, Peter.
Well, Republicans sympathise with King Charles and Princess Kate. We understand the difficulties they're going through. We wish them a full and speedy recovery. The protests are not about them personally. It's about the institution they represent. In a democracy, the positions of state are supposed to be based upon democratic consent, based on merit. You know, we have a head of state, a monarchy that is based on inheritance. No matter how bad that person may be, they become our head of state and monarch, regardless. That is not a good look in a democracy. We Republicans...
Should you shout at his wife while he's got cancer, though?
No.
Well, we weren't shouting... No one was shouting at Queen Camilla.
Down with the crown.
No, but Graham, the head of Republic, made some really disgusting comments a couple of days ago in the press, and he called... it was really quite cruel, actually, what he said. He said Kate Middleton's cancer diagnosis was just a soap opera. I thought that was really, really unnecessary to liken what the princess is going through to a soap opera in a circus. Really? Is that how you expect to get people to come to your cause? Well, look, by using such inflammatory language like that? You wouldn't like it, Peter, if it was you going through that and your family heard monarchists talking to you that way in the street. It doesn't sit well.
Well, let me say, when I had my cancer diagnosis, there were protests against me, and I supported people's right to protest, because in a democracy, the right to protest is sacrosanct, and that includes the right of people who I disagree with. I've defended the Brexit campaigners, their right to protest, even though I disagree with Brexit. Come back to this issue. King Charles and Princess Kate, they are public servants, paid by the taxpayer. They choose to put themselves in the public domain. Therefore, they cannot complain if people express opinions. And I think expressing an opinion about the rights or wrongs of the monarchy is perfectly valid in a democracy. And on top of this, you know, they are a very privileged, wealthy family. Between them, they have a personal wealth of over £2 billion.
Well, so that's all right then, is it? You know, then he's getting chemotherapy, or she's getting chemotherapy, but they get to go and look at the gold warnings.
I think we're losing sight of this yet. No one's saying that you can't actually protest. It's having a peaceful protest. And would it not be better mannered? And if you're going to attract people to your cause, is it not better to do it quietly, not when the King and the Princess of Wales are going through cancer? Can you not just back off in a public way? You could still tweet and do what you do in private. You know, your followers aren't going to change in that way, but is it not better to do it at a different time than what they're going through now?
This is what people always say about protests. now is not the right time, that's not the right way.
I just think we have to have some sensibilities about this and think that there's two human people here at the centre of the story who are going through something really traumatic. And at the same time, I just want to say this as well in defence of the monarchy. Right now, and I think both of you would agree, this country is going through some of the most turbulent times it's ever experienced. The monarchy right now is the one stable thing we have that unifies this country and keeps us together, and it also represents us on the world stage. Why would you want to disrupt something that has worked well for this country since 1660? For 400 years, it's worked well for this country. Why, when we're going through such a turbulent time, would you want to create more disruptive problems? I don't understand that, Peter. This is not the right time to be doing this.
That's your opinion, you're entitled to it. But public support for the monarchy is massively declining.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's not true.
Don't interrupt me.
That's not true, Peter. It's at 65%. If you were to have a referendum now, you'd fail.
You're an extremely rude woman. Let me speak.
I'm not a rude woman. I'm saying I'm defending.
You interrupted me when I didn't interrupt you.
Okay.
The public opinion polls in support of the monarchy are falling. Among younger people, nearly 40% want a democratically elected head of state. That's the way the public opinion is going, and people have a right to express that view. And the idea that the monarchy is this unifying influence is simply no longer true. Support for Prince Charles himself has massively fallen in recent years.
The Princess of Wales has now been voted the most popular woman in the world. So how has their popularity, how has their status fallen then? When people around the world are interested in her story, she's never been so popular as what she is now. So that's not compatible with what you're saying.
What people around the world think is irrelevant. We are British people. We have a right to choose our head of state.
It's not fair.
In the last poll, only 15% were in favour, 20% didn't know, and 65% wanted to have a monarchy. As I said to you, Peter, I just don't think now is the right time.
That's only just not even two-thirds, even by your own statistic, and I dispute that.
Well, it's still the majority.
By your own
it's more than half.
Well,
we had Brexit on less.
Before, support was much higher. But as I say, this is not about them as people. I'm sure they're very nice people.
Do you think you're the good guys? Do you think you're the good guys lining up outside a church so that an elderly woman whose husband and stepdaughter-in-law who are going through cancer can hear you shout at them? Do you feel like a good guy there?
Well, Queen Camilla has chosen to be a public figure.
So
she's paid by the taxpayer. She's a public servant. The public have a right to hold her to account. As I said before, the royal family between them have a personal wealth of over £2 billion.
So it's fine if, because they're rich. This is what I
let me finish.
That's a very well spent £1.
Let me finish. They've got a personal wealth of over £2 billion in the midst of this cost of living crisis, and we are still, as public taxpayers, paying for them, for their palaces, 23 palaces, over 700 servants. This is obscene when people are struggling with the cost of living crisis.
King Charles is trying to slim the monarchy down. Now more than ever, we need more of them. He's trying to slim it down, and then we've seen what's happened. He's going through cancer. The Princess of Wales is going through cancer. Actually, we need more of them, not less.
And of those people who lined up outside that church today, on a Thursday, a working day, I imagine most of those were either unemployed or took the day off work. They're not contributing to the economy, are they, Peter? So what have they got to shout about?
Well, I'm sure if they took the day off work, they'll make it up later on.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, all right.
Well, the other thing as well, Queen Camilla going was an absolute massive boost to business in Worcester, and the alternative is what? President Blair... shudders at the thought.
It doesn't have to... Look,
and also, you wouldn't want President Trump, would you? It could be someone like that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind him, but you wouldn't want him.
Republicans do not want an executive president like the Americans or the French. We want a low-cost, purely ceremonial president like Germany, Ireland and many other countries.
And who would you want?
Boring. Who's going to come and see us if we have that?
I think someone like Joan Bakewell or Helena Kennedy would be great heads of state.
Right.
They have a great human rights record. They're much loved and respected across all spectrums of society.
But how old's Joan Bakewell now?
Well,
all right.
I'm just giving you an example.
OK, well, there we go. Look, well, we asked for a head-to-head. We got a head-to-head. Thank you very, very much. Who do you agree with? Should Republican campaigners stop protesting following the royal family's double cancer diagnosis? John on X says, Yes, we are a royal nation and anti-royal protesters should be arrested. Gosh. Max says no. You can't pick and choose when protests are appropriate. Elliot says, as long as no one is advocating violence or disrupting people going about their daily lives, the right to peaceful protest should be absolute, even when protests are in bad taste. Well, your verdict is now in. 77% of you think that the Republican campaigners should stop protests following the royal family's double cancer diagnosis. 23% of you say that they should not stop protesting.